Are you? It is highly subjective. Like ESG is still evolving, it's still evolving. It's still it's kind of new. So it's highly subjective. There are some of the, especially the social issues, can be very subjective and peculiar to different organizations. So some of these ESG factors, even the environmental factors, social factors, sometimes they are difficult to quantify. Not that they are difficult to measure. You can actually measure them, but how can you quantify it? How can you translate it to naira and kobo or to dollar and cents? How can you attach monetary value to it, so that based on that monetary value, you can now value the performance or assess the financial performance of an organization. So these are issues on ESG. It's difficult to quantify, and this is washing. Greenwashing is when organizations make unsubstantiated claims on their ESG status or on their environmental sustainability compliance. They say, oh, this is our carbon GH, that is greenhouse gas emissions are low, our products are environmental friendly, sourced by the most organic, all these kind of statements. People perceive them some people perceive them as greenwashing because they are not substantiated. There is no external verification. This is what the company is saying. Is there anybody that has gone to actually verify whether it's true? So that's why some people say that ESG is all about greenwashing. There is no much strong substance to it because there is no external verification. This is also because there are yet to be serious regulations in this regard, but things are happening in the regulation space, especially in the EU. They're already come up with regulation that will take effect in 2024. Comparability is a bit low because the methodologies are not the same. And this is because, especially because of the social factor, which is highly subjective. And also because there are no universal standard yet. There's no internationally agreed and accepted standard. That's why it appears that methodologies are complex and not comparable. But trust me, this ESG meetings actually speak to the performance of any performance of the company or even a nation. Though we have all these demerits, still ESG is a thing. ESG is something that every organization, government should be watching out for, because these are the real realities that we live in now. So with that said, let's go to the importance of ESG. Notwithstanding all these demerits, it is still important. So why the goals? Number one, investor funding. Like I said, ESG came about by a consortium of UN and financial institutions on how to make responsible and effective investment decisions and making responsible investments. So investors are now looking at ESG ratings, looking at your ESG compliance. How do you address these issues before they invest? We are having more green bonds. People are now issuing green bonds. Companies are issuing, even governments are issuing green bonds. So we are now having green bonds because we see that everything is about funding. For your organization to move on, it's about funding. For governments to move on, it's about funding. So it's important. Since the institutional investors are very serious about it, then you have to be serious about it to get your funds. So investor funding is very important for your financing. So this ESG is something you have to comply with, because going forward, it's gaining momentum. So public interest. ESG is now the new public interest, because not only investors are interested in ESG, also employees, the government, employees, suppliers, the public, everybody that is the public, the people in the environment where the company operates, everybody is interested about ESG. And it's now making, if a company does not behave right or does not comply with even social and economic and environmental issues. You see the backlash from the public. You see the backlash from people, and that backlash can affect your market share or your market price. Your market price is for companies that are quoted in stock exchanges. It can affect your market price. It can even also affect your cost of capital. So it's now the new public interest. Everybody is interested, not just your investors. Everybody is interested. There's a study by PwC. They found out that 76% of consumers say they will stop buying from companies that treat the environment, employees, or the community in which they operate poorly. So 76% is material. So this is a very recent report. It's a very recent report. So this shows that this is actually public interest. Consumers, those are your customers. They now look out for if both corporate customers and even individual customers really, this company is intended for child labor. You see some people who say, no, I'm going to be patronizing this company again, or this company is the air pollution they are generating is so much. So it's not the public interest. So you cannot but pay attention to ESG. We have public interest. PwC also did their recent report on hopes and fears. The study shows that 75% of the 32,500 want to work for an organization that contributes positively to the society. So it is now public interest, so it is important. So sustainability, still on the importance of ESG, sustainability. Without the environment, there will be no life, because we operate in an environment, and if our activities as individuals, as corporates, are impacting the environment negatively, it means that one day everybody will shut down. The environment will just shut down on everybody. So it is very important that we begin to pay attention to our footprints, the impacts we are making on the environment, and also the impact we're making on people. So sustainability, to sustain your life, sustain your operation, sustain your organization. You know, every organization is considered a going concern. So going concern can be interrupted when uncertainty happens due to poor decisions made in regard to environment, social, and governance issues. So sustainability ESG is very key to sustainability. When you consider environmental, social, and governance structure, you are preparing for a sustained life, sustained organization, sustained nation. So that is how important ESG is. So now, also risk management is when you are doing anything you're doing on ESG, it's also risk management. When you're looking at how do I impact my environment? How does the environment impact me? How do I impact the people and your governance? You're really doing risk management. You're really managing the risks that may arise internally and externally to your organization. So ESG is very important. And as accountants that we are responsible for the finances and financial reporting, financial management of organizations, it's very important that you understand what ESG implies. You understand how it plays out in your organization. We're going to look at what regulatory and reporting frameworks. Like I said, ESG is still evolving. It's still evolving. So there are as of today, there are no standards that have been approved and said, okay, it is universally acceptable. Everything is still work in progress. People are working. So we have some few standard setting bodies, regulatory bodies for ESG. We have the European Financial Reporting Advisory Council Group, the EFRAG. We have the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI, and then we have the International Sustainability Standards Board, the ISSB. As soon as the legislation comes into effect in the EU, their standards begin to apply. So that is why we need to start. Looking into the ESG as accountants, because when the standards begin to apply, it's going to affect financial reporting. The aim of the standard is to increase the reporting quality, accountability, and transparency of sustainability-related information. And like I said, some people use sustainability interchangeably. So sustainability also includes all these three factors: environmental, social, and governance. So it applies to large listed companies in the EU. They have different thresholds that determines how large the companies are. So they say that it's all large listed companies in the EU with more than 250 employees on average, and with more than 250 employees on the average over the financial year, and all large listed companies that also have minimum net turnover of 40 million euros and a balance sheet total of 20 million euros. It also applies to non-EU companies operating in EU-regulated markets. Non-EU companies that operate in EU-regulated markets with a net turnover of 150 million or more at consolidated level, and net turnover of 40 million euros or more at the subsidiary level, and at least 250 employees at the EU subsidiary branch level. It also applies to listed SMEs. So you see that this scope is actually big, even though this ESRS applies only to the European Union, but the scope is big. It means that some companies in North America, some companies in Asia will fall into this reporting regulation. So it means that it's actually ESG reporting is something that has come to stay. It's actually happening. The ESRS has embraced the concept of double materiality, where you no longer only report on single materiality of how the world impacts on your organization. You're now reporting on how you impact on the world. So that's a big deal. So reporting is changing. So like I said, it's going to come into effect from 2024. When the CSRD comes into effect, it's going to be effective from 2024. So the large companies, the large listed companies start first with that 2024, and they scale it down till when the small medium listed companies also come into the report. How ESG impacts your employer or your client operation. If you are employed in an organization as an accountant, you need now to start understanding, because you know that this is something that's going to come to us in Nigeria. If you're in Nigeria, if it's yet to come to your country, maybe if your country is not operating in any EU-related regulated markets, you never know. But it's going to come around. Just like IFRS came, it's now being applied in Nigeria. So in fact, you understand how the ESG impacts on your employer and your client operation. If you're like an auditor or a consultant, understand how it impacts so that you can make the right decisions. You can advise correctly. You can start preparing as the accountant, you can start preparing organization to start doing the line of ESG. For financial reporting, it means there will be more disclosures. We have talked about double materiality, and then the ESG rating scores. These are issues. The ESG rating of a company can affect your value. Like what we had in Nigeria, where would ESG credit impact score? They scored Nigeria very highly negative, CIS 5. That's credit impact score of -5. And this credit impact score of -5 was part of the rationale for downgrading Nigeria further downgrading its local currency and foreign currency long-term issuer rating, as well as its foreign currency senior unsecured debt rating. It was downgraded from B2 to B3 in 2022. So these things are real. So if your rating is downgraded, it means your cost of capital, your cost of your interest, the interest rate on your debt is going to increase. So that is also having an impact on your financials. So these are things you need to know, the impact on your financial report.